The next turn, Ephemerate comes back, we get Noxious of Revival. We put Ephemerate back on our deck, we cast Ephemerate on our Spellseeker, we get Flashback. We flash back the Time Walk, take an extra turn. Hi, and welcome into the Cryptic Keep. My name's Austin.
And I'm Siobhan.
Siobhan, I want to talk about Secrets of Strixhaven.
Yeah.
Have you seen the set list yet?
I
dropped on Friday?
Perused.
Okay.
Definitely. This is the first set in a while that I've actually looked at a couple of cards.
I've been deep. Cool. I've been down the card list rabbit hole, and I think a lot of people look at card lists when they get dropped and they're like, okay, where do these cards fit into existing decks? You know, which is the most powerful of these cards, and they try to like figure it out. I like going the opposite way. I like looking at the card list and saying, okay, what decks are now possible now that we have the redundancy of certain cards? So what I want to talk about is like 3 different decks, 3 different archetypes that I feel like are not played at all. Mm-hmm. Probably not very good, but after this release might have enough of a critical mass where we can start playtesting these decks. And the 3 decks that I have for you are Golgari Aristocrats, Boros Flicker, and Life Gain Control. And
these are pretty spicy.
If you're listening in, I want to make one of these decks. I want to like actually spend a lot of time and effort in making one of them, and editing and, you know, making it perfect.
Yep.
And if any of these interest you, let me know. Comment below. Subscribe while you're at it.
Yeah, let us know down below. I'm actually super interested.
Yeah.
Because I love when Austin gets in his mind palace and starts brewing stuff. Because that's what
I'm excited for all 3 of these. I think all of them have legs. And do you know the meme of the guy like pointing at the, you know, the strings?
The Pepe Sylvia.
That's where I feel like today is gonna go a little bit. We don't have to like fixate on too many slides and cards specifically, explain everything, but I'm just kind of like gonna sweep through some of these cards and then talk about the new cards that added to these archetypes.
This will be great for me who hasn't seen them yet, because this will let me get familiarized with them in a better context.
This might not be the best to like review the cards because I'm going to be showing you some garbage.
Sure.
Okay. So the first one I want to talk about is Golgari Aristocrats.
Okay.
You've played Aristocrats. I've played Aristocrats. Mm-hmm. It's been a while, but it used to be like a 4-color deck.
Yep.
And every color has gotten better Aristocrats.
Yeah. I mean, when I started playing Canadian Highlander in 2017, 2018, the deck that got me in was 4-color Aristocrats. It was basically Mardu, but like you still really wanted all of these like green mana dorks.
Yeah.
And just like Brindle Showed and all these like other Aristocrats synergy cards. But you kind of didn't want to be in green.
No.
All of the other good stuff was really, really in Mardu. Like Butcher of the Hordes. Oh, Butcher of the Hordes.
Well, so the black cards have gotten better. Like, there's so many more like mana or creature producers, as well as aristocrats and sack outlets that people started cutting off green. I see now that people are cutting off like red or white as well, making a 2-color deck. Mm-hmm. But this new set has gotten some more green ones, and it makes me kind of want to go back. Okay. So green offers a lot of great cards for the Aristocrats, right?
Yeah.
Some of the best 1-mana 2-body creatures are in green. Yep. You also get access to like a couple more Undying cards.
This was part of the like original issue with that old deck, was that like these cards are really good. Like Young Wolf is pretty decent in terms of Aristocrats payoffs, but you don't want to play that if you're in Mardu.
You gonna play like a City of Brass or something to like flash for this green card? Yeah.
How are we playing Strangleroot Geist in our mostly Mardu deck?
And Mana Dorks, like you said, are great because usually in Aristocrats you're playing really bad 1-drops.
Yeah.
That do nothing until you get enough cards where now you can start sacking them. Well, we can start getting value out of our 1-drops with Mana Dorks, which is really, really cool if we're playing only 2 colors.
And Aristocrats is already like a pip-heavy or pip-hungry deck. Like some decks, they don't really care. And even when you're in 4 colors, you're pretty free to be playing like your Golgari cards and your Azorius cards or something like that. But Aristocrats is really, really cares about the color of pips that you need, because you're playing so many 1-drops and 2-drops of a single colored pip.
There's not much colorless in there.
There's not a lot of colorless.
And you don't want any tapped lands, so you're restricted there as well. no triumphs.
So things like Ignoble Hierarch, super helpful.
But because you're also playing Mana Dorks, you got to kind of play these like 3-drop kind of producers.
Yeah.
That just keep growing and create Griswold. Maybe this is not should be on here, but I want to sleeve up Griswold somehow. And I think it's actually pretty good. And Springheart and Nantuko, that's like a really good, you wouldn't think about this aristocrat card, but if you play this on 2 after a Mana Dork and then you have a fetch land, you get 2.
It gives you so many bodies. And it has this crazy line of text that also lets you copy some of your best cards.
Let's have 3 aristocrats. Why not?
Or if you put it on a creature that makes more bodies, you get to just like multiply the amount of cards that you have or creatures you have in play.
And they also get the best tutors. Like green creature tutors are the most efficient, the best, the most broad. And that's awesome because there are a lot of aristocrat combos.
Yeah.
And each of these 3 cards kind of have their own section of card lists that like have a combo associated to them.
Like Yawgmoth was a modern deck.
Yep.
Yawgmoth, Young Wolf.
If you get 2 Undying cards with Yawgmoth, you can basically keep sacking as much as you have life, right? And if you have only 1, it kind of doubles your sack outlets. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and if you have a Blood Artist, a Zulaport Cutthroat, you just kill them.
Yep, just kill them.
Just kill them.
And then Warren Soul Trader, there's like, I think like 3 cards that are for 1 mana who you cast from your graveyard. And then you keep sacking, create a treasure, get the mana to play it again.
Yep.
And then Tromel, it works with persist creatures, opposite of Yawgmoth, where you can continuously sacrifice a persist creature.
Yep, anything that gives 1/1 counters.
Exactly. So, I definitely see this deck as more of a combo aristocrats card than more of an aggressive one that you would see if you had red in your deck.
We talked in a prior episode about like Rakdos Aristocrats, and how that version at least is much more like an aggro deck. Like the bulk amount of damage that you're dealing is just coming from chipping in with these like 1 power creatures, 2 power creatures, whereas this one seems more like you're fine going a little bigger, and then just like finishing the game out with a combo.
And I think it might be quite nice in the like more mid-range metas because you're placing these little guys to block rather than trying to get your 2/1 in, like in the aggressive Rakdos one. And these are like maybe more like personal favorites, like these niche cards that I'm just excited I get to play in this deck. So like Grist and Insidious Roots, because you're playing all these persist and Undying cards, they are coming back from the graveyard. You get 1 mana Planeswalker, or you get all the plants and Mana Dorks that you want out of Insidious Roots.
Folks at home, if you haven't played with Insidious Roots, you gotta see that card up. It's so much fun.
I can't tell you how many times playing Aristocrats, you're just like 1 damage away from winning. And I love the idea of having a Dryad Arbor in your deck so a fetch land can become a creature. Like that's kind of cool. It's another trigger, a random blocker. That's fun. And then this is one of the only decks that you can play Life and Death for the life side.
For the life side.
Play life. All your lands are now 1/1s. You get to sack
Folks,
them
if you
all.
haven't played the life side of Life and Death, sleeve up Life and Death.
Excellent. So new cards that came out. Right? So Ambitious Augmenter, 1 mana 1/1. If you play any 2-drop spell or higher, this will get a 1/1 counter.
Okay.
And then when it dies, it will create another creature. So this is a 1 mana 2-body creatures most of the time. And also is a good body. Like you can play this on 1, play 2, and then now it's a 2/2. Possibly even get it to a 3/3. So that's great. That's just anytime we get a 1 mana 2-body creature, great. We're adding it to the deck. Pest Rescuer. You remember that Death Touch Snake card?
Yeah, this is like Ophidiomancer.
This has the same wording where it says at the beginning of each upkeep, you create a pest creature token, and it has when it dies, you gain 1 life, and whenever you gain life, you gain that much +1.
Okay, so it's like instead of Death Touch, you're gaining 2 life every cycle.
It's probably worse overall.
Maybe.
But there is value to this, and gaining an extra life on all your Blood Arts is pretty cool. Yeah. You can play this your opponent's turn, you create the 1/1, and then you either block with it, obviously, or they don't attack, you sack it to end step, you get 1 on your turn, you get to create 2 creatures a turn cycle, which is cool.
And as we've already talked about, there are a bunch of these combos that are happy to just drain a bunch of your life.
Yeah.
So like this is a fine way to convert more life into more card draw or more just overall damage if you just want to brute force that combo without like a Blood Artist entirely.
And if we're playing 2 colors, one of them being green and a lot of mana dorks, 3 drops are much easier. And I feel like this is a better curve. Like if you play mana dork and then play a 3 drop, and then next turn play Aristocrat Blood Artist, I feel like that's a little bit better of a momentum than play a 1 drop, play an Aristocrat, and then play like a 3 drop. Like being able to jump to 3 then back to 2, I think is better in the Aristocrat game.
In a way, it's less committal.
Yeah.
Approximately.
And you start your engine a turn faster. Immortal Bargain, I want to try this card. 3 mana, sack any amount of creatures and destroy X amount of non-land permanents. So Aristocrats, you usually have more permanents on the field, or creatures on the field than your opponent. I kind of want to just play this, especially when we're playing a bunch of these token generators rather than necessarily good creatures themselves, and sacrifice 3 creatures. Drain them 3 times, and then kill their Mox, kill their Planeswalker, kill the creature.
Yeah, this further supports that idea of maybe Golgari Aristocrats being better in the mid-range grind than like the Rakdos version, because if you get into a mid-range grind or you're playing against another mid-range deck, the last thing you want to see as an Aristocrats player where every point matters is like a Barragoyf. Something with big power or toughness and lifelink that can just like stonewall you out of that last little chip for the game. And this seems like a great way to say, I just have more things than you and I don't care if any of them die. Let me just blow everything up. I don't care.
And then Dina's Guidance is a 3 mana instant speed creature tutor that can go to your hand or to your graveyard.
Yeah, this is Eladamri's Call, but for 1 more mana basically.
And can go to the graveyard if you really wanted to.
Oh, interesting.
There might be some niche application, maybe like Hogak or something if you wanted to. But instant speed tutors are really, really cool.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if I'm holding up like an Oppo agent or whatnot, and then I hit you with this, and then I get a cast it the next turn.
Or you have Warren Soul Trader, and you just like bin the card you need. You bin the Relentless Dead or whatever it's called.
Relentless Dad, is that what you said?
Relentless Dead?
You said Relentless Dad.
Relentless Dad.
Okay. Arian is a 3 mana 2/2 Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with power or toughness 1 or less dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So this is another Blood Artist. Only works on your creatures, but it's double.
It's
2
double.
is twice as much as 1. Sure. I don't know if you know this or not. But draining for 2 is crazy. Like if this said gain 4 life or target opponent loses 4 life, like 4 is just a substantial amount of drain.
It does like potentially proc like half of the time.
Yeah.
Depending on how your deck is constructed, which is tough.
I would probably say more than half, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, most of these cards have 1 or less.
This is a matter of like deck construction. Like you can find that out when you're making the deck. You can prioritize 1 power creatures for this if that was your goal.
Yeah. I'm really excited about Arwen. I think there's got a lot of situations, especially if you're like tutoring for your Aristocrat, where you're like, oh, I don't have enough damage. Let me just go for Arwen and get the extra.
Absolutely.
Because you get twice as much strength. Again, I don't know how to say this again. If you have if you have a bunch of 1/1s and you attack with this on the board, they can't block. They have to take the 1, right? Because if they don't take the 1, they drain for 2.
I really like this Essence Knit Scholar.
Yeah.
This is a 3 mana 3/1 that also enters and makes another pest. And then it says at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control, you get to draw a card.
Yeah.
This is basically like a slightly slower Grim Haruspex, but it's a 3/1. One of the many, many issues that Aristocrats can have is when you're this kind of combo-y aggro deck, you're kind of spewing all of these low-cost cards into play.
Yeah.
And then you get hit with a board wipe. Maybe you do some meaningful amount of damage, but then you're just like out of cards. Like you've just run out of cards. This is like the thing you want if, again, you're trying to go for maybe a more grindy, mid-rangey plan where you're not as weak to a big board wipe.
I also like that it just comes with a body. Like the Grim Horospex type cards, usually the worst part about them is they're 3 mana, 1 body creature.
Right.
And at least you're getting 2 out of this at the very least. And I feel like you can trigger this the first time you play it. You play it, you could attack, play this afterwards, and then get your draw immediately. And if you're getting 3 mana, 4/2 worth of power and toughness, 2 bodies, and then you get a draw card, I feel like
Yeah,
that's more than fine, right?
three mana for 2 bodies is already great, but the fact that it's also supporting this continuation of cards, being this endless conga line of assholes.
Yeah,
very good.
Rabbit Attack. I feel like I love just like slamming these stupid cards that whenever they die, you draw a card, and you just like refill your entire hand. Pretty sick.
Yeah, this was pretty nuts.
Instant speed too. Like your opponent doesn't know. Like you can play it after blockers.
After blocks, for sure. I really like these. I call them trumpet blasts, but like trumpet blasts with like an alternative upside. Like give all your creatures death touch, or in this case, draw a bajillion cards.
There's one that gives them all or Afterlife 1. I like that card a lot.
Sounds pretty cool.
And then Moseo Vane's Nudine. This card is a real heater. Like I really want to play this in my life gain aggro deck, but this is a 3 mana 3/2 flying. Whenever it enters, create a 1/1 pest again, and then Infusion at the beginning of your end step. If you've gained life this turn, return up to 1 target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. No finality counter.
Just come back.
No restriction. No nothing. It just comes back.
Get back your creature that makes 2 bodies.
Yep.
Get like a net 4 bodies in play.
If you, all your aristocrats gain you life, or most of them gain you life, right? So if you play this, the turn you play this, you can sacrifice your 1 mana 2 body creature and immediately come back, and that's like the floor of this deck, this effect.
Yeah.
You attack with like a Barrogoyf, you sacrifice the Barrogoyf, you return it. Like there's a lot of stuff here, and you can play this after combat, so they don't know why you're attacking to gain the life. The token that you create also gains you life when it attacks. So there's a lot going on.
Now I know we're still only one of these decks in.
Yeah.
But this might have actually sold me on this.
Already?
And
Okay.
I still want you all at home to vote on what Austin should make here, but I might make this one as well. So still vote for it if you want, but maybe I'll make this one. What are we doing here?
Last we got Gorma the Gullet.
What is it? Gorma the
More
Gullet?
frogs, all right? 3 mana 1/1 with lifelink, already great.
Okay.
3 mana 1/1 with like whenever another creature you control dies, you put a 1 counter on Gorma.
Okay.
But it's really why we're playing this is non-token creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each creature that died under your control this turn.
Interesting. So this reverses persist.
Yep. So this goes infinite with persist. Even if you're not going infinite with persist, like even if you are sacrificing like 3 things or 4 things, you know, like you can make each creature that you play massive.
Right.
That's cool.
I feel like Aristocrats players are used to the carrion feeder style of card in which you're sacrificing creatures for power. This one's interesting because it's kind of like a foil to that. Like you're not sacking creatures. This isn't a sack outlet. This is just a payoff that gets bigger. It's like Mortician Beetle.
Yeah.
For those who've played like Pauper before. Super interesting. And the fact that it does it for all of your little guys means that if you have a bunch of things that make bodies, you sack them all and then get a bunch of triggers and then they all get super big.
Yeah, you're talking about like just the mid-range value out of this is very, very high. Like you could be trying to go infinite, you're drawing cards, by sacrificing, you're trying to search for something, and you're like, I find nothing. Well, just attack with Gorma and gain 5 life and come back, you know, get an extra turn.
I've still just got the biggest idiot in play now.
With lifelink.
With lifelink.
Why does it have lifelink? So yeah, that's this deck. I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, we just talked about like 10 new cards for the deck, which is a lot. Like
yeah, that's a very considerable change.
All right, Boros Flicker. We've talked about this deck a few different times.
Yeah.
Personally, what do you?
I mean,
what's your thoughts?
I mean, white already has a very big base for Flicker.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played Death and Taxes quite a lot, so like the Felia Recruiter of the Ephemerate package already exists.
Yeah.
But like you're happy to do that mostly as just kind of like a value engine.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing it to get more cards in your hand because for Death and Taxes, you just want to keep up the tempo, the aggression. And you do that by just having more cards in play and gaining more cards in hand. But you're not really doing it as like the game plan for value in the same way that maybe you would be for a scam deck.
Yeah.
Or like
Bant Flicker.
Or Bant
also,
Flicker
you're just trying to draw a lot
deck.
of cards with these cards
right.
entering, right?
Occasionally you're flickering your White Plume Adventurer to win the game.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're flickering your Recruiter of the Guard to get another card into your hand.
Yeah. Or you're trying to like interact with your opponent with like Aang,
right.
or there's a couple 3 or 4 mana ones that exile
For
a creature.
Sure. But most of the like flicker decks are kind of in like, I would say like Esper Adventure or like Scam area. Usually Esper is like the colors that I've seen a lot of.
With Boros Flicker, I think we're going real low to the ground.
Okay.
Like 2 and 1 drops primarily, and we're just trying to get damage out. So instead of being interactive, we're being more tempo-y.
Okay.
We want to kill our opponent. We kind of want to like stifle what they're doing a little bit.
Absolutely.
And all these cards are pretty good. Like they all have like these effects that you kind of are fine with them on their own. They get more advantage. What red kind of adds is like a weird like couple ninjutsu and Norin where like maybe I attack with Momo, you block it, I exile it, I get the 1/1 counter, I play Momo again.
A lot of these cards, of the ones we have up on screen right now, like they've seen play, they do something, but they're not like the core thesis of your deck.
Yeah.
Like a Johnny's really good and making a cat token is good, but most of the time your goal is just to make a cat token, flip, and then like dumb them. Whereas like being able to just flicker a Johnny for value for the cat token is not like the whole goal of your deck.
And these are all crackable too, which is kind of cool. Instead of playing like 2 mana 1/1s that draw you a card, you can play like Gwen Stacy and Brahiller, where like you can exile the top, so you're not really sacrificing your power, so you can continue to attack, you know, with these creatures. They're still semi-aggressive. Feather is kind of fun because all these like exile effects you start getting infinite of, or they just keep coming back. Go Ninja Go is an additional flicker effect that you get access to, but also removes a creature. You could play like when creatures enter, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. Unearth has a fun interaction with flicker effects where you can unearth Molten Gatekeeper, attack with Felia, flicker the Gatekeeper, it comes back as the regular, so it just doesn't
because like Unearth doesn't care if it, as long as it goes to exile.
It has to do with a replacement effect.
Yeah.
So like because it's already going to exile, it doesn't. Yeah. You could play like you get an extra shock to your opponent with all these flicker effects.
Yeah, these are like classic burn cards.
Prevent your opponent from blocking. I like the idea of playing like Ponza with white Orchid Phantom and just like just keep killing their lands. Grishnak was like a fun card that we found where you start like taking control of your opponent's creatures, especially if you get to do this twice in a turn. It's kind of brutal.
Super cool.
Additional tutors. Direfleet Daredevil is kind of fun. Let me grab your Unearth. Let me grab your...
Delnia is like a classic crafts card.
I think it's good in this one because we have so many 2-drops. You could get double triggers.
But like what I'm pointing at here is like a lot of these cards have some level of pedigree in Canadian Highlander, but like not in this deck, like not put together.
I think part of this deck is figuring out where... I think it's going to be a fine line of like where it fits on aggression versus interaction versus... I think if it does work really well, it's going to have to like be tuned really, really well.
That has always been like the threaded needle of Boros, which is like, are you going too slow compared to just mono red versus like not white enough compared to like mono white?
And my concern is maybe this deck is just going to be a worse Boros deck.
Potentially.
But a lot of these cards, like I keep looking at them, like these are good cards. Like Flickering Extraction Specialist is kind of cool.
Super cool.
Guide of Souls is a great card. Legion Initiative is another board flicker, but also is a pump spell.
Kind of a lord.
A lord as well.
Yeah.
Humble Defector. Oh my goodness. You can activate Humble Defector, flicker it, and then you never give it to your opponent because the drawing to and giving it to is part of the effect, not the activation. I want to activate Humble Defector, attack with Felia, bring it back, next turn activate it. I'm like drawing to every turn. And like you can scam with Fury, and like Flage doesn't work exactly how you want, but it turns a flicker effect into another Lightning Helix. You can go higher in the mana scale and get these like
Skyclave and Aven Interrupter.
And maybe it becomes more of like a mid-range deck with like I mean, just double Pyrogoyf probably kills somebody. Double.
Yeah, I think these are still really good.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably what might be the end game of this deck. And I'm happy to see that, because these cards are all pretty nuts.
So new cards, Daydream. What I like about Daydream is the 1 mana, exile, return it, and then, but you get a 1/1 counter. And I think in this deck, every point is going to really matter in like just being able to get another 1/1 counter to attack in. I think if I lose with this deck, it's going to be my opponent's at like 2 life, you know? And
sure.
And also it's another card with flashback. So a lot of these flicker effects are card negative because you're just getting the ETB effect of the creature. Well, Daydream, if you cast it, you can also cast it from the graveyard and get twice as much value. Ennis is another card that's for 2 mana, can exile another creature and return it to the battlefield.
Okay.
And it itself will get bigger. This is also crackable, so I think that's kind of cool. You get to like it returns at the end step, which is not as great, but so you can't like, you know, get 2 and flicker.
Emeritus of Truce is basically like a repeatable swords.
Yeah, or just getting extra inklings I think is fine. You're kind of happy with that as well. And then Maelstrom Artisan gets you like to turn your flicker effects into land destruction, which is kind of scary. Like if I play this on 3, attack for 3, and the next turn rocket volley, flicker, rocket volley, like ooh, I just double.
Yeah, I see your creeping desire to make Ponza in this.
Maybe I just have a secret twisted desire to Ponza people.
I'm not blaming you.
Okay. But the real reason why I want to talk about this is we got this card.
Yeah.
3 mana, 3/2 first strike. When it enters, exile target non-creature, non-land from your graveyard. Till end of your next turn, you may cast that card.
So, I saw this card, and we ended up talking about this card a lot on our local Discord.
Yeah.
A lot about what it can and can't do, and all of the implications it has. This card's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, super cool.
It doesn't exile it afterwards, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. Like, usually these cards, like Flashback, will not let you do it again.
It just puts it in a temporary zone.
Yeah.
So, like, it exiles it, and you have to play it until end of turn.
Until end of next turn.
Until the end of
the next turn. So you can wait if you don't have enough mana.
But it's not like you just, like, lose it forever once you play it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a finality counter, in so to speak.
Some people are talking about, like, Black Lotus with this.
Yeah, I was talking about Black Lotus with that.
I think any of these 3 cards would be really good. Like, just being able to play this, even if it's on 3 and you, like, leave this into exile and get to play it again, I think that's fine. Like, 4 mana Swords to Plowshares, get this body is great. 4 mana Lightning Bolt, get this body, great. Helping Hand, great. Like, I'm happy with all of those.
What I think is really exciting about this card is this is like a Boros Eternal Witness.
Yeah.
So it doesn't care. It's only non-creature, which means you can also get Ephemerate back.
Yeah.
So you can get into these like Ephemerate loops in which you cast Ephemerate on this, you pick up another spell, and then you do this one more time, and then get Ephemerate back again.
I like where your brain's at. Because I want to talk about Seeker Walk for a little bit.
For sure. Okay.
So this is kind of what you're getting into, where...
Yeah. So for those who are uninitiated, Seeker Walk is a deck based around Spellseeker getting you to Time Walk. And there's kind of a convoluted line, but all of the cards are up here, which is you Spellseeker for Ephemerate.
This is unplanned.
Yeah. You Spellseeker for Ephemerate. Ephemerate Spellseeker, which gets you another spell. You get Neoform.
You get Time Walk. You take an extra turn.
Yeah. And then you Ephemerate and get Neoform.
Yeah.
And that lets you turn Spellseeker into Timeless Witness, which is just a 4 mana Eternal Witness. All that matters is that Neoform wants the creature to be 1 mana value higher than Spellseeker's, which is 3. And then from there, you can just eternally flicker Timeless Witness and get Time Walk back, and then take infinite turns that way.
Yeah. And what's interesting about the ruling is, like, you can get Ephemerate back with the Timeless Witness. You can Ephemerate the Timeless Witness, it comes back. And then you have to wait for the Ephemerate to finish its ability, which is put itself in the graveyard. Right. And then you have the ability of Timeless Witness to put Ephemerate back in your hand. Yeah. So, like, the timing works just perfectly so that you can take infinite turns. I think you need 6 or 7 mana and
Yeah.
just 1 card, Spellseeker.
Right. But this is like a deck that already exists in Canadian Highlander. And the fact that you can get that in Boros now is super interesting. Like, maybe you're not playing Time Walk in this instance, but we have the Timeless Witness part of that deck in Boros now, which is super interesting.
So I thought the same thing. And I did a bunch of research and read Rebound for me for a second. If you cast a spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. So Scrollsmith puts it into exile, so you cast it from exile. So you don't get the double ephemerate if you turn it. So I went deep into the whole lines of like, how do I get this to work?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Me too. But I still think I want to splash Time Walk and Spellseeker because there's something that it does do that's pretty close to the same impression, and it requires a lot of I guess explanation here. All right. So first of all, if we've time locked and we cast Practice Scrollsmith and we get a cast Time Walk again, we're happy.
Great.
That's awesome.
That's probably game winning a lot
right?
of the time.
Like 2 extra turns, like great. And then also all the Cloud Shift type cards in our deck are now Time Walks, our 3 mana Time Walks, which we're happy about, right?
That's easy.
And you can't hand attack this. Like, it goes into exile, you know? So, anyway. I think that's great value alone. We also just have Recruiter Regard for the Scrollsmith. We have, like, Gamble for the extra turn, because, like, we don't care if it goes in the graveyard or into our hand. So we have some, like, tutors for this as well. We have Dwarven Recruiter.
Wow, you really went deep, huh?
Because Practice Scrollsmith is a dwarf.
For sure.
If we have Felia or Soul Herder or Meticulous Excavation or Eldrazi Displacer, we're able to flicker our Scrollsmith every turn.
For Time Walk in this case, or Lightning Bolt or
Infinite
whatever.
turns, which is awesome. We love that. Feather goes infinite because, like, our exile effect, we get to do it every turn. If we have a Nace and a Krakus, we can get infinite ETBs, get infinite turns. There is a convoluted Spellseeker line, so we get Spellseeker to get Ephemerate. Ephemerate Spellseeker, get Time Walk, take an extra turn. This is an optional thing, but we can have Noxious Revival in our deck. So next turn, Ephemerate comes back, we get Noxious Revival. We put Ephemerate back on our deck. We cast Ephemerate on our Spellseeker. We get Flashback. We flash back the Time Walk, take an extra turn. Next turn, Ephemerate comes back, Spellseeker. We have probably played enough lands now that 4th Aerolingus just gets them.
For sure.
All right? Now, we don't necessarily need Noxious Revival. We could just get Flashback and take 2 extra turns, which I think is cool. We could just be doing this to get to 4th Aerolingus, because that card can win the game alone by yourself. We could 4th Aerolingus first with Spellseeker, and then have another Flicker card in our hand, if we have another Flicker card in our hand. So we're able to draw with the Monarch for all these 2 extra turns. We can do all this to get Helping Hand to return our Scrollsmiths to the field, if that's in the graveyard. We could do all this to get Daydream, which, if we have enough mana, we just put Daydream inside of one of these tutors.
In this loop, just interject it somewhere.
Just so that Daydream gets put into the graveyard in this process, which gives us another Spellseeker search.
Yeah.
And I think this also would be kind of cool if we just get Flashback.
Price of Progress.
And just double price them.
Bam,
I think that's a GG alone, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, Scrollsmith also casts Price of Progress, so I could Price of Progress on 2. You know, just to hit him for 4 or 6 or something. And then, anyway, this is to go along to say, like, all these cards are fine in the deck alone. Maybe Noxious Revival is the one that's not that great.
And Time Walk is, like, a little sus. Or then, this Blue Splash is, like, a little weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird. But I've seen people play, like mono red decks where they splash for Time Walk, or they splash for... Yeah.
It's not, like... unprecedented.
I could definitely see games where, like, I play some aggressive creatures and just cast Time Walk, and that's the game win.
And that's the game, yeah.
I just get 2 additional combats. If we have Delny, some of these combos become better because we're able to get additional value. Like, and then Aziza is also a card that's new from this set that I think would be interesting because you could double time lock, double ephemerate, double price of product. Like you could, and because you're playing all these dumb 1 and 2 drop creatures that are maybe worthless at turn 4, turn 5, like you might have these cards out.
You see what I have to deal with, folks.
This is me like explaining. You gotta see it. Okay, I think I have to win a game before you maybe believe in me, but that's Boros Flicker and maybe Splashing Blue.
Interesting.
For 1 or 2, maybe 3 cards. All right, life gain control.
Okay.
I've been playing a bunch of Soul Wardens, a bunch of Ajani's Pride Maids. I've come back to this deck and away from this deck. It's been like a second love for me. And I've been playing a deck that's called like Nun Combo.
Yeah, this is a deck that you've coined as Nun Combo.
Yeah.
Nun as in like the religious
N-U-N.
Like, yeah, N-U-N, praying. Yeah. And you've always been deep in the hole on life gain stuff. You're not as interested in food as a lot of people are. Like, I think the food deck is a bit of a trap in that gaining life is good and artifacts are good, but they kind of like get really muddy when you try and put them together.
Yeah.
Like there are already way better things you can do with like a Tolarian Academy that like playing and making food is like
pretty mana intensive.
Pretty mana intensive and doesn't feel as worth it as opposed to like killing someone with a Thopter Sword combo or whatever. But you've been a lot more on gaining life as like a means to something.
I've been on a life gain kick. I don't know if it just feels good. Like especially anytime you sit up the finals of last tournament was against mono red aggro. And I was like, sorry, man. Like, I'm going to play a Soul Warden every turn. How are you going to win? I don't know. Anyway, so I've been playing a lot of this, and I really enjoy it. I don't think it's necessarily the best thing to do, especially the aggro version of the deck. But it's really cool to play a Soul Warden and Johnny's Pride Maid and just keep going higher.
Yeah.
So there's some new cards to the deck that I'm really excited for. We don't have to talk about these too much, but like these all fit into like the life gain aggro nun combo shell very, very well. What I always want to add to these decks is interaction because I know I'm not as fast as a combo deck, right? I know that the aggro decks that are creature based, I'll just wall them out. But the ones I don't care about my life total, I really have no game. So I feel like I want to add these like interactive cards, but every card that I add that's one of these cards is not a nun or a combo, right?
Right.
And that's kind of a bummer, but they keep printing these cards. And I'm developing like a stack of like cards that are interactive with my opponent, but also gain me life on the side. And I think one of the hardships of control nowadays is, well, they're just going to attack me with a Ragavan or an Ocelot Pride, or what if I miss them on turn 1, you know? And just being able to get those like extra 10 life that you've gained throughout the course of the game really provides flexibility to get you into the long game against aggressive creature decks.
The life total that you used to be able to stabilize at has definitely risen over the past couple of years.
Great point.
Like, historically, if you were at 3 or 4, you would be pretty good in pretty much every case except for burn.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. And burn, of course, you preferably would be 6, just, you know, they sometimes have 2 lightning bolts or whatever. But now it feels like the average is like 6, and burn is a little higher even now, that being able to maintain 10 life, being above that like potential kill threshold of these aggressive decks feels really, really good. Like as a control player, like when you're like going back up to 13 every turn, it feels really good. Yeah,
once you can like let them resolve a threat because you know it's going to take 5 turns before they kill you, like that's great, you know? So what I have here is like a few like, I would call them like suboptimal control cards. Like Requiting Hex is not Fatal Push, right? But it has the option of gaining you life. And it's pretty close. Pest Infestation is not the best way to deal with artifacts and enchantments, but they create twice X 1/1 pests that gain you life. Scavenge use isn't the best one for attacking graveyards, but gains you life, right? So I want to build a deck that just plays a bunch of these suboptimal interactive cards that doesn't really commit to the board that much and just gains you life as like, oops, I gain life. So Hayward Might, oops, it gains you life. Like Kaya's Guile is not the best removal spell, but it gains you life. You know, Witherbloom Command gains you life. Shielded Ajax gains you like. So I just want to keep gaining life while I'm interacting with my opponent and really playing like the long game in this deck. I think Gerald's Verdict is like one of the best underplayed cards in our format. 2 mana, discard 2 cards, and you gain 3 life for each land card discarded this way. This card's awesome. Like this card's very, very good. And easier to cast than Hymn to Torax some of the times, you know?
I do want to poke fun at you that you called it Gerald.
Gerald? Gerald?
Gerard.
Okay, Gerard.
Classic Weatherlight Captain. Or Weatherlight Hero? Come on.
My bad.
But Valentine, Dean of the Vein is super cool. Yeah. I have been housed by this a number of times. 1/1 with Menace and Lifelink is already like such a weird spot to be in.
Things don't die.
A graveyard hate. Yeah, things don't die anymore. And then it's got a backside, which you're basically never casting. But sometimes...
I think in this deck you might, you know? Like, it's when you gain life, you get bigger. Like, sick. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Deep Cavern Bat, like, it's just the lifelink body that's doing the effect as well. Collective Brutality, sure, I'll pitch another card just to drain for 2, you know? And maybe you're not always doing, like, the gain life on these commands, but, like, just because they're... Just having them as an option, I think, is important for the deck. You loved Cling to Dust. I feel like
I love Cling to Dust. Oh.
I love Witch's Vanity, maybe a little bit too much because it makes a food token. Many Partings, I think, is super underplayed. I think this card's great in control decks. And then these dumb hobbits. Like, Sam is probably the best one out of it. But
yeah, no, the food, like, some of the food engine is really cool and interesting.
I don't want to go hard into it. I
which
just
is
want to
why
do just the best.
I think they're good, which is why it's really enticing to go, oh, food deck. But I think you're right in assuming that actually you don't want it to be a food deck. Like you don't want to put all your eggs in the basket. That is like the food typo synergy cards, and you're just happy to like gain all of these like coincidental life objects for free.
I'm playing these 4 hobbits because they all draw me the other hobbit, and they're decent bodies, and they gave me life, right? Because they fit the theme, not necessarily because they're food tokens or food cards,
but they fit your goal of like controlling and gaining life.
Now, what's our payoff, right? So, like, we can play these cards that we, like, lose a life every turn, like Bitter Blossom and Dark Confidant, to get card advantage and creatures on the field. Like, because we are gaining so much life, we can play these in a control deck and not have a fear of these, like, killing us, which is nice.
Yeah.
We have payoffs like Oslet Pride. Like, every time you do a removal spell, you get a 1/1 cat. And we're less, like, trying to kill our opponent by attacking with Oslet Prides, and more like playing an Oslet Pride and then
just gaining tokens because you gained life. Like, you don't even have to attack.
I'm not attacking. I don't want to attack, you know? I want to get the city's blessing.
I have an indoor cat.
Maybe I should call this deck Indoor Cat.
Yeah.
And then Sorin's one of my personal pet favorite cards where, you know, it gives you Extort. The 1/4 lifelinker is just so awful to aggro decks.
Yeah.
But the flip side is, like, you get to turn all these life gain into additional removal spell. It's -1 is deal damage equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn, which is, I don't know, if I can double removal spell cards, I think that's really cool for a 2
Eat a bunch of foods, blow someone up.
Yeah. We can, like, draw cards because we're gaining life. We can create tokens because we're gaining life. How do we win in this deck? I haven't figured it out. Like, is it a combo? Is it, you know, like, draining people with veto and cards like that? But you can play cards like Toxic Deluge pretty reasonably because you have such a life total. Like, I could see you actually, like, Toxic Deluging for, like, 9 against, like, a Reanimation deck and, like, being fine by, like, gaining your life back.
Interesting.
New cards. All right?
Okay.
Vicious Rivalry is another Toxic Deluge, but for mana value. And they attacks artifacts as well. So I think just having the redundancy, great. I'm really happy. Pest Rescuer, we already talked about this card.
Yep.
But just creating a 1/1 that blocks and gains you 2 life every turn, brutal. And then these bottom two are like more payoffs, or the bottom left is like a payoff for our life gain, where every time we gain life, because it gains life itself, you're going to have access to a 2-mana draw 2.
Yeah.
And this is, we've talked about like card advantage before, but like this is not a 2-mana draw 2 because this doesn't cost me a card. You know, this is more closer to a 2-mana draw 3 if you think about it as, you know, you've lost Sign in Blood when you cast it from your
Sign in Blood normally nets you 1 card.
Yeah.
It replaces itself and then gives you 1 more. But in this case, every time you do it beyond the first, it's getting you 2 cards. Like you do have to include the Silver Tongue here in the cost. So the first time you do it, you're netting 1 card. But each time after that, you're gaining 2.
Yeah.
Like plus 2 fully. In the same way that Ancestral Recall does.
And the floor is a 2-mana 1/3 with flying and lifelink. And I'm kind of happy with that, you know, like
this card's crazy.
Maybe I'm too happy with that, but like I love a flying lifelinker 1/3. Like that's awesome.
3 toughness flyer.
Leech Collector, if I'm going to win with like draining people, maybe this becomes the card, one of those cards that I add. I could definitely see this not being a card that I add. But 2-mana 2/2, whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, that's your turn or your opponent's turn, which is nice because I can save up my removal spell for my opponent's turn. You get to do Bloodletting, which is each opponent loses 2 life. So you can kind of like waste a mana every turn to kind of like drain them out. And maybe we're playing like a more of a extort style deck.
Yeah. But this is like a weird shock.
I would have to explore it, you know. Maybe I just like cave and just play a simple 2-card combo to win, but yeah. Professor Delian Fell.
Okay.
This card, honestly, I looked at this card and I was like, this is perfect for the deck, all right? 4 mana, 5 loyalty, plus 2, gain 3 life. It's a lot of loyalty.
7 loyalty?
And it's gain you 3 life. Like, if your opponent has the ability to aggressively kill this thing the turn after you play it, you're kind of soaking 10 life out of this, which is a lot.
Crazy.
And that's worst case scenario. We got 0, you draw a card and lose life. -3, destroy target creature. And -6, you have a veto.
Yeah, so you can uptick, and then if they don't deal with it, you just get veto as an emblem forever.
Yeah. I think most of the time I'm probably playing this for 4 and just destroying the creature. And then hoping to like gain life coming out. But like, even if I'm just like playing this and gaining 3 life every turn, and like when I gain 3 life, I create a 2/2 flyer. Like I feel like that's kind of sick. And draws you like this card's perfect. This card's very perfect.
So you got these charms, Witherbloom Charm and Silver Quill Charm.
Yep. I think both of these charms are just fine, but they
fit this like theme that you have, which is like utility, like controlling utility, but with this like stapled on gain life that you can sometimes put. Like maybe in the early game, you're drawing 2 cards, or destroying a non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. But maybe in the late game, you gaining 5 life is the same as when you have like the Dovin line of text killing them.
Or I'm turning the corner and I'm trying to get out.
Right.
I think the #1 ability on Witherbloom is destroy target non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. I think that's why I'm playing it. And then for Silver Quill, it's exile target creature with power 2 or less.
Yep.
So, Social Snub is a card that I kind of want to play in Aristocrats as well. But like, if I have one of these pest tokens, I can cast Social Snub and have you sacrifice 2 creatures and then lose 2 and I gain 2. But it's like 2 instances of life gain. It's just another one of these cards that like interact with the board and gain me life, which I'm kind of happy about.
Super cool.
So those are my emerging decks. All right, like I'm pretty happy to brew one of these 3 decks. I don't have all the time in the world to do all 3 of them because I want to give it like a fair shot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like when I'm trying to make a deck for videos here, I like to spend a couple of weeks when I can to see how things shake out. So I'm not just like giving people like hollow information. So please let us know if any of these got you super excited, which one you would want to see a video of. Vote down in the comments below.
Vote for my chains for me to wear.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for all 3 of them. Like I I already started building some card lists for each one of these. So please tell me which one I need to do.
This is super cool. Thank you for showing me into Strixhaven, Austin.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And thank you for staying at the Cryptic Keep. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.